Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us today. Today our session is going to be around social media. So it is bang for your buck, how to use social media to recruit those passive candidates. By way of introduction, my name is Jill Curley. I am the Strategic Business and Process Development Manager over at JCSI. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background about JCSI. I promise to not sell you too much. That's not why we're here. You're not here to learn about JCSI, but more about the strategies that we have experience with that you may be able to bring into your daily recruitment lives to help you be more efficient. So JCSI, we are a recruiting consulting company. So we really specialize in passive candidate search development to help you to find the best candidates more cost effectively. So we were founded by Jim Sullivan, who is our CEO, over 10 years ago. And we really started out as that traditional contingent agency back in the high-tech space. You know, when the economy started to turn, we realized that our clients needed something different and we needed to change with the times. So what we've done is we pioneered this consulting model where we really came up with a flexible, scalable model where we could help our clients with whatever needs they had as they came up. And because of the flexibility, it really becomes a lot more cost effective for our clients to utilize our services just to partner with them to help them to find those best passive and active candidates that are out there on the market today. We are headquartered in Westborough, Massachusetts, and we currently staff over 50 full-time employees. So what is the purpose for you guys joining our session today? Well, it's to learn about social media. So I thought a great place to start is to kind of give you an overall definition. What is social media? So social media is really defined as any form of online publication or presence that allows the end users to engage in multi-directional conversations or around the content on the website. So really it's revolutionized marketing and the way that companies can go out and attract audiences or reach out and have conversations with the people that they're looking to connect with. It's really made a big impact on the world of recruitment, which is obviously an important issue for all of you. So what it is not, right? So we know what social media is now. So what is it not? So really, the best way to define it is to use it. It's very effective at attracting the passive candidates, but not necessarily to find them. And let me give you an example. So say you are a software company and you are out there looking for a Java engineer who needs to have experience with C++. If you are out there going on your Facebook account, there's not really a way to go in and do such a keyword search to find candidates that have the C++ skill. Can you do it? Yes. Will it be time consuming? Yes. And this is from our experience. Everybody is going to have a different strategy. What it's great at is to kind of build those relationships, get your presence out there, start your branding, have a way to, once you identify the candidates, which in our experience, there's great tools out there for that. Your LinkedIn is a phenomenal avenue to find candidates with specific skill sets. Your Jigsaw, your Zoom info, those are the places that we've found have been very successful in helping to identify the right candidates that you want to start conversations with, and then connecting with them in some of these other social media avenues to really expand upon that, start conversations, just get them to have knowledge about your company and what are your benefits and what are your selling points and what image are you trying to get across. So what it does best, I've talked a little bit about this, right? So it's twofold here. There's meaningful interactions and then there's employment branding. So for your meaningful interactions, you really want to use this as a way to kind of convey what is the meaning of a career with your company? What is the avenue that this candidate can go down once they join your company? Where is that work-life balance? All of those things that you want to portray that come across as a positive to that candidate that is going to get them to pick up that phone and say, yes, I want to talk to the hiring manager at this company. That is what it does best. So if you can enable a strategy that's going to allow you to get this end result, you're moving in the right direction. The employment branding. So this is something that you can do along with your marketing department to put up, whether it be a company video, to really give it firsthand, amplified from your passionate voices, people in your company that are really excited about what you're doing, to get that across to the candidate rather than just reading a job description of, here are my must-have skills, here are my nice-to-have skills, here is the salary range. Does that make sense? So what are some of the challenges that you're going to find when you put a strategy in place to embrace and use the social media avenues that are out there at your fingertips? So one of the things that is challenging is you cannot necessarily, in our experience, use it for all of your sourcing. Because like I mentioned before, there's certain avenues within social media that are very effective, and there's other ones that can be effective, but maybe not the most efficient use of your time because they can be very time consuming to get to that end result. So you want to use it first to network and kind of tap into that pipeline of those candidates that you have identified have the skill sets that you're looking for. So when you run into stumbling blocks with your traditional tools like your job boards, like some of your different blogging sites or specific niche site that you're looking at that you know targets those particular candidates. Once you've kind of exhausted those areas, that's when you may want to dive a little bit deeper into these, but your first kind of line of strategy should be your traditional methods that you go about right now to find those qualified candidates. Another challenge with social media that companies you just want to be aware of is that you don't want to go out necessarily and just push your jobs out. So if you're on LinkedIn and you belong to a specific group that you know houses those candidates that are having conversations about the technology that you're looking to recruit in, you don't necessarily want to every day go out and blast them 10 jobs. You may start to get perceived in a negative light, and that's going to defeat the purpose of this. So you really want to be strategic and be careful about what information you put out there that is really going to start engaging these candidates and getting them to see you in a positive light and start conversations with you. Another challenge is just making friends. So with social media, it comes back to, okay, how are we going to measure our results? So measuring the results, it can be subjective. So a lot of executives at the company may come to your recruitment team and say, hey, I'm going to measure you by how many people you get to like our Facebook page. That's fantastic. We want people liking the Facebook page, but can you really judge your kind of performance on which candidates are viable employees for your company based on how many people like your Facebook page? How many of those really have the skill sets that you would be looking for to come and employ in your organization? So again, all of these can be effective avenues to use to build your brand, to start conversations, to get that positive view of your company, but in our experience, not necessarily maybe the right avenue to specifically go in and find the particular skill sets that you're looking for to recruit or to measure your success rate on it. So moving on, what is the typical recruitment process? You guys are all familiar with it. You're doing it day in and day out. And by the way, I give you a lot of credit. It's not an easy job. I completely understand, and my hat's off to you for doing this day in and day out for your companies. It's a very important job. So the first thing that you do when a hiring manager comes to you and says, hey, I need to find this mechanical engineer with XYZ skill with this many years of experience and this salary range, and they need to live within 15 miles, right? And so they're giving you this really narrow spec that you need to go out and find. The first thing you're going to do is identify where are the avenues that I'm going to go and find these people. Where are the best places that these candidates are living online that I can just go out and start my campaigns and reaching out to them. So identify, and the majority of companies today are using a lot of these. So there's job postings on your major job boards. There's job postings on your niche sites. There may be localized job boards. If you do a quick Google search in the area that you're looking to post on, you can usually find some sites that you didn't even know were there that you may be able to generate some additional candidates from. Employer referrals. This is usually when we ask our clients, what is your #1 avenue to find qualified candidates? Employer referrals, right? We don't have to do any cold calling. We already know the work ethic of our current employees. We think they're stellar employees. Why not expand our network and find people that they know that they think they would fit into the culture of the company? And then we also have what we're talking about today, your social media, your LinkedIn, your other market research tools, areas that you really need to kind of go out and sell these candidates. So that brings me over to the engagement portion of it. So the engagement is really, okay, I've identified where I'm going to go find these candidates. What is the message I want to provide to these candidates to make sure that they know exactly what they're coming into and why they want to work for us, what they're going to get, what benefits do we offer, what is the environment, is it what they're looking for, is it a small company, is it a large company, is it the growth path? You need to think about your audience of a candidate. What do they want to see? What's going to make them make that next move? And you need to develop a campaign around that to really entice those candidates how they want to be enticed. So it's, you know, with the engagement, you're all familiar with this. You're going to send out emails. You're going to leave voicemails. You're going to leave another voicemail, maybe send out another email. And stop me if I'm wrong, how many of you have gotten to that point where you're saying, starting to feel a little bit like a stalker here, right? We've all been there. We're all like, where is that fine line where I just can't go any further? Maybe if it's that A candidate, that stellar candidate, they're at your competitor, they've been put up on that pedestal. They're not, why are they going to take your phone call? They don't want to leave their current job. We need to find a way to get them to say, yeah, I'm willing to have a 5-minute conversation with that hiring manager and learn more. And that's what we're going to help you put in place today, or think about. Start just opening your minds to some different ways of targeting those candidates and giving them the message that they want to hear. So here is, you're probably all familiar with this. Your numbers may look a little bit different. It's kind of the standard funnel, right? You need to feed more at the top, and then some are going to get weeded out along the way until finally you kind of get down to the candidates that are making it past that first round interview. They've come in for a face-to-face interview. They're in the final round, finally down to the offer and hire stage. So it takes a lot up here to kind of get that qualified, interested candidate at the bottom that's going to be the exact right fit for your organization. What I want to focus on is, say you source 80 candidates, right? You're only able to get connected with about 40 of them. What happens to that other 40? This big 40 over to the right, these are those passive employed candidates that they're not picking up the phone to call you back on that standard voicemail. They need a reason to be sold to say, yeah, this is going to be worth 5 or 10 minutes of my time to learn a little bit more about that. So put yourselves in their shoes. I want you to think about what's going to cause you to pick up that phone and call somebody back. What message is it? What email is it? What strategy is it? And that's what you want to think about when you're going to put in your strategy and put together some of these campaigns to reach these candidates. So leads us to what we call candidate marketing. And this is something that we have expanded on over, the last 10 years. We've improved upon. We've kind of tested the waters. We know what works, what doesn't work. And I'm just here today to not tell you how to do it. I'm just here to share some experience about how we've been successful doing it, so that maybe you might want to implement some or all of these strategies into your campaigns. So why is it important to use candidate marketing? Well, your objective really is to locate and attract those best candidates that are going to fit your job. Now, will they be active candidates? Sure, there are some great active candidates out there. The majority of the candidates that you're looking for, that you want to bring into your company, are working at your competitor. They're currently working, they're doing a great job. Those are the employees that you want to bring on board. So they're most likely, you're adequate to excellent employees. They take the time to really understand the overall fit of a company. So they're not just saying, I have the skills to do this job. They're going in, ultimately interviewing that company to say, is this the culture I want to work in? Is it the size company? Are they selling a product or a service that I can stand behind and believe in and get passionate about? The best candidates are ones that find the right fit that are going to make them happy in the job that they're going to every day. So they're not going to be likely to be interested in a move unless they feel that you're going to offer them all of those areas. So how does social media fit in with your current recruiting? So there's a couple of different ways, right? We have candidate marketing tools where it's basically, these are the tools that you have at your fingertips to implement your strategy. So you are going to figure out who your target audience is with those candidates. You're going to customize your voicemail messages to let them know that they have the experience in the background. You're going to create a specific email that's going to catch their eye and get them to respond back to you. So that's what we talk about when we talk about candidate marketing services. I'm going to give you some examples of some of the tools that we've found to be very successful in kind of out-of-the-box ways that we can pique the interest of these passive candidates. The other way is the social media community. So we've been talking about this throughout this entire presentation. So this is the avenues where you can just go out and build that brand presence. You're going to most likely be doing a lot of this along with your marketing department to create videos, to create messaging around your website. But ultimately, it should be you as the recruitment team that's kind of managing this messaging, responding with candidates, having those chats, using these different sites to your fullest potential. So looking at ways that we've kind of crafted and come up with and honed our techniques along the way, some of the things that we've found to be successful that I would urge you to kind of give consideration to, and you won't necessarily use every single one of these on every opening that you have, but you may pick and choose 1, 2, maybe 3 different ways that you're going to have to reach out to those candidates before you finally find the one that's going to click with them and get them to respond back to you. So several of the ways is a webinar. This is a great avenue. We have had tremendous success with reaching out to those more technical roles. These are going to be your engineering roles, your highly technical roles in the IT group where they're at their desks. You know what? They do not want to talk to you. They are not going to pick up the phone and call you back and waste their time because they don't want to go in for a 2-hour interview with a company. They're happy where they are. So we want to give them a non-threatening avenue for them to go learn more about this company, learn more about the specifics of the job, and make the decision on whether or not they want to take that next step and have a call with the hiring manager. So this is an avenue to invite them, hey, this is an informational webinar. You're going to hear firsthand from an executive at the company about why this is a great place to work, what this job entails, to see if this may be a logical next step in your career. They come to the webinar, we put a campaign in place afterwards to reach out to these candidates and find out if they are interested in taking that next step. And that next step, by the way, not a 4-hour interview with the company, not going to work with these types of candidates. It's going to be, are you open to having a 10-minute conversation with the hiring manager now to determine if that next step is warranted. That is the objective for these. They've been very, very successful. It's a non-threatening way. Jobcast. I would recommend using this on every single campaign that you use. It takes very little time, very little budget, no budget really if you have internal resources that you can kind of brand together and utilize to put these together. We can give you some tips and tricks on how to go about getting this started. But this is a great way, rather than just sending that candidate a 1-page Word document with the bullets of here's what you're going to be doing on a day-to-day basis. They're going to get that, they're going to delete it. By the way, a rule, if you're emailing candidates, a lot of people nowadays are using these smartphones. They need to scroll more than 2-3 times. You've lost their attention, they're deleting it. They don't have the time to sit there and read a full 1-page document about a job that they don't even know they're looking for. Okay, so what I want to do now is just show you a quick snapshot. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. These jobcasts can sometimes go up to 5 minutes, but it's a quick way and a unique way for the candidates to hear firsthand from somebody at that company about why it's great to work for the company. What is great about this particular position? What is the potential career path that you could have? And rather than just seeing the Word document, they can actually hear firsthand. So here's an example of that.
Thank you for joining today's podcast. I'm here to discuss Spade Technologies' network engineer opportunity with their CEO, Miles Keogh. So Miles, can you tell me about what attracts people to Spade Technologies? Why do people enjoy working there?
You know, we've worked hard really at building a team of technology-loving people. You know, they're really geeks at heart, and I mean that in a good way. And they, you know, they live and breathe the technology they deal with. They're constantly learning new technology, and they're working with cutting-edge technology every day.
Okay, great. So that just gives you a little snippet of it. I'm happy to share this full podcast with anybody that wants to bring it back and share it with your team to show them an example of some of the other avenues that you can use to pique the interest of those passive candidates. The next thing I want to bring attention to, now with social media, a lot of it can be very low cost for you to implement. It's really just the time of your team and the dedication to follow it through. One of the things that can be an added cost but can be very effective, and this may be something that your marketing team already has the resources to do, so you may want to kind of just check with them and see if they've done anything like this or if they have the internal capacity to do it. If not, you know, there's a lot of companies out there that you can consult with and have them shoot a video for your company that really showcases the value of your company and the benefits and the message that you want to get across. So we're going to show you a quick example of a video that we did with one of our long-running clients, Open Pages, who's an enterprise software company in the Boston area. And this is something that we partnered with them on, and we did create this video for them at an additional cost, and it helps to just drive that brand presence on their careers website. And then finally, we have a few other things that can be very helpful. So a candidate landing page is very easy to put together. It's generally just one link that you can send out to all of the candidates where they can come to one spot, either on your website or on this particular landing page, and find all of the tools and all of the selling points related to this job to give them a good picture of what this career, what this company, what this job may offer for them in their future. And then they can make an educated decision about whether or not this may be the next right career move for them. So by coming here, they can see the jobcast, they can see a video, they can see a copy of the job description. If we've done a webinar, you can put a copy of the webinar there. So it's just a central place that they can go and have access to all of the tools that they might want to see. And then finally, and I don't want to make light of this, I think this is a very, very, very important part of the process. If you really want to become more effective, become more efficient in your overall recruiting to passive candidates, you need to get personal. With your jobs, you need to really dig down and think, what is going to cause this candidate to call me back? What's going to cause them to reach back out to me? And it's all in the messaging. You want to keep it short and sweet. You don't want to have a lot of attachments. You want to have at most one link to drive them somewhere to learn more information. But you want to have a succinct message that's customized to them. Hey, you know, we're looking for excellent people that have C++ experience in a Unix environment. I don't even know if that makes sense. But, you know, whatever your specific criterion, it's going to be different for every company. But whatever it is, you want to find out what about that candidate, what in that background leads you to believe that they're going to be that perfect candidate. And then let them know why you think they're the perfect candidate for them. People want to hear a personal message. They don't want to have another message from just any company that they don't know about or another recruiting agency that they don't know about. Anything you can do to streamline that, make it personal and be persistent. So you can't send them one email, leave them one voicemail, and then forget about them for 3 weeks. It needs to be, we like to call it, building a relationship with the candidate without ever having talked to them. And that's really your ultimate goal. If you can do that, you're going to have a much higher success rate of getting those candidates to engage in a conversation. And at the end of the day, that's what you're looking for. You're looking to at least just have some conversation with them to find out, are these candidates going to be qualified? So just to kind of summarize up, I'm giving you just a brief snapshot. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions, go into more details, talk about more examples of how things that we've stumbled upon, things that we've had success with, things that we've tweaked along the way to help you to get off and running with a great strategy. So just talking about kind of 5 steps that you can take back with you immediately and start implementing. The first thing, and you all know this, right? You get the criteria from the hiring manager. Here's the opportunity that we're looking to fill, right? So then you gather all of your information. So you do want to do your due diligence. You gather all of the information. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to take that information and you put together your sourcing plan. And this is where you come up with what are the avenues for this particular job that I need to go and post on. And it's not going to be the same for every job. As you know, you identify where are the best avenues for this particular skill set that I'm looking for. So you go and you post your jobs, you get ready, and you set up your search strings for your resume databases that you have access to. The next thing you want to do is you want to think about the marketing plan. What is the message that I want to deliver to these candidates? What is the branding? What do I want them to say about our company when it comes up in conversation? And this is something that you want to put around the specific jobs that you're, the candidates that you're reaching out to. And then the next step from there is to really give some thought, and you have to be dedicated to this next step and really come up with that customized messaging. And whatever your process is going to be, just follow it through and build that relationship with the candidate without ever having talked to them. So create your customized emails. And this can be, you can do this internally. You can create somebody from, you can pick somebody from your team that's going to be responsible for this particular avenue. They're going to create, maybe do some scripting around it. You don't want them to feel like you're kind of talking, reading off of a script, but more just the general message so that you know the message that you want to deliver. Put together the job cast. If it makes sense, if it's a technical position, maybe you want to think about doing a webinar. Maybe you do want to engage with your marketing team. Hey, we need to get a better brand out there. These candidates don't really know who we are. Do we want to put together a company video? So this is where you just want to come together as a team and pick your strategy for which candidate marketing tools make sense. And then finally, you're going to define the project timeline, when you need to have this hire by, when you need to have certain interviews, and kind of plan out your scheduling and make sure that you put steps in place along the way to kind of measure what is success, how do I get there, and let's make sure that we're continuing to move forward. So that's what I have today. Happy to stay and answer any questions. I know that we covered a lot of information here, so happy to open it up to you guys now. Okay, great. Who wants to be brave and ask the first question? Yes.
Do you recommend implementing social media across the board for all recruiting projects within the company, or is it best to create a unique strategy for each individual position?
That's a great question, actually, and the answer really is twofold. So you really want to do both. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that across the board at your company, you have a strategy in place with your toolkit of all of the tools that you have access to that you can pull up and use on individual searches. And you want to make sure everybody's on board and is aware of what those tools are. But you do want to take it a step further because it's going to be a very different message if you're trying to recruit a salesperson than it will be if you're trying to recruit a Java engineer. So in those cases, you want to take it a little bit more granular, and you really want to think about what is the message I want to give, what message is going to resonate with these particular candidates that I'm trying to engage and interact with. And it may be you're going to reach out to different sites. It may be using a webinar on the engineer but not on the sales position. Salespeople are much more likely to have a conversation with you on their own. So you have to think about who your target audience is and what is going to be the best way to get that engagement going. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Excellent. Any other questions?
Yes. What type of a budget do you need to implement social media?
Another great question. And I don't have a great answer for you. The answer is it can be zero. It can be as much as you want. So, for example, some of the things that we talked about today, the emails and voicemail campaigns, you don't really need the budget except for your current staff. If you have the resources at your fingertips within your staff that you have somebody that can help you to create these campaigns and just create the messaging around it, it's just really being diligent and following through and making sure that nothing's slipping through the cracks. So that's something that you can do at a very low cost. Some of the other strategies that we talked about, depending on how big of a marketing budget you have or what your internal resources are, a company video to put up on your web page is probably going to be an added cost to you. So it's going to kind of put together, think about what you want your overall strategy to be, and then just kind of do some research as to what the different areas cost, and then you can decide which ones we want to incorporate or what do we have budget to incorporate this year, and then maybe you put it on your kind of docket of this is something that is a real nice to have for next year, and if we get to this level then we're going to be able to get that. So that would be kind of the best way that I can answer that. Does that answer your question?
Sure, thank you.
Okay. Great. Well, I appreciate your time today. Really, I know that you have a decision on which session to attend, so I'm really thankful that you chose to come and join us today. I hope you found some of the material helpful, and again, I'll be around after here to answer any individual questions that might be out there. Thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of the conference.